Hi, my name is Peggy Bailey, and I am an induction coach for new teachers through Northeast Georgia RESA. A recent study by author Malcolm Gladwell calculates that it takes about 10,000 hours of deliberate practice to master a complex skill. That translates into about 7 years for those working in a school. But fortunately, the data was not sustained when looking at teachers who had a personal educational coach. Effective coaching can greatly accelerate growth. Teachers aren't receiving much coaching. Unlike soccer players or musicians or actors or doctors, teachers tend to have to learn on their own. It should be no surprise that we have a huge turnover of teachers in the United States, and part of that is because they feel they don't have the needed support in order to be successful. So in RESA, we have been using experienced teachers to coach our new teachers. I'm one of those. First, my experience is 40 years in the classroom as either a middle school teacher or a gifted teacher or mentoring new teachers as a team leader. And we, as RESA coaches, meet and discuss strategies together regularly. And RESA has been providing additional training for those of us as coaches in order to better serve our teachers. This year, we used a scope and sequence program guide from a workshop and book by Paul Bambrick Santoyo called Get Better Faster, a 90-day plan for coaching new teachers. Bambrick Santoyo begins by identifying and unpacking 3 core principles, and we use those when we go out. First, begin teaching down into discrete, concrete skills to be practiced over and over again. Second, plan with the teacher, practice with the teacher, follow up with them, and repeat coaching a teacher through these practices even before they're in the classroom. And then number 3, make feedback more frequent. Make the most of every observation, and I try and do that by increasing the frequency of feedback, and I have a guide to help me with that so that I can focus on a skill that a teacher would like. This may be classroom management, or it may be the rigor of the lesson, and I work with the teachers to decide which of these things they would like coaching in, and together we pick and set some goals. So I observe a teacher once or twice a month. And then together we choose and focus on just 1 or 2 skills at a time and work on polishing those skills down to the smallest detail. For example, this month I've met with 9 teachers so far. I typically start by going in each month with doing a class observation. I take notes and script commentary as I watch. I have my new teacher scope and sequence guide with me, and I use it to make notes on my iPad and to pinpoint where I think a teacher may have a weakness or just a strategy that I can help implement into the classroom. I also use the iPad to video the teacher so we can discuss the lesson afterwards. Immediate feedback is key, so I work to be ready with my notes and suggestions immediately, and that can be just after the observation, but if the schedule doesn't allow it, usually we will meet via Zoom and I'll do that within 24 hours after the observation. So based on the observations or on previous discussions, it's not always an observation, sometimes it's just a discussion, we will set some goals to look for strategies that have been proven to be successful. And I will set a timestamp for these to practice, for the teachers to practice them and I'll check back with them. Usually I'll give them about a week before I check back, and then I'll send a text or an email asking them how that new strategy is working. And it's really exciting to see them try something new and then get excited about their successes in the classroom. So I thought I would share a couple of some of the recent experiences. Ms. Waters is an elementary school teacher, and together we set a goal of her giving her students more rigorous feedback on their classwork while they were working independently. Instead of just walking around and nodding and saying, okay, or go back to number 2, I shared a specific strategy called the 3 F's, and that's feedback, fix, and follow up. She gives them feedback that states the error. She tells them to fix it, and then she says, I'm going to follow up. I'm going to come back in 2 minutes and see how you're doing. So together, we then watched a video on an experienced teacher using that strategy so she could see it in action. And then, as I said, we set a goal for her to try it. This week, I checked in with her, and I'm going to read back what she texted back. She said, I've been able to implement the 3 F's. I have found that works better with my 3rd graders and keeping them focused and on task because they know I'm coming back to look for a specific thing. I tailor the goals depending on the needs and planning of the teacher. So another teacher, Ms. Super, found that giving that kind of feedback out loud to individual students while she was walking around wasn't working for her because it was distracting them. Her voice was distracting them and causing some disruption. So we went to a different plan. So you don't always use the same strategies depending on the situation. So we implemented the strategy called pen in hand, making silent comments on their paper instead of talking to them through the process. And she says, I use a dry erase and write on the table or their personal dry erase board. Or for some students, I use an erasable pen and set a problem up. And she said that's been very helpful and she's been using it every day. She also walks around with an exemplar of what she wants to see the students do. And we planned that ahead of time to write up what kind of things she's looking for. So then the third teacher I wanted to give an example of is Miss Miller. I observed her last week giving very general feedback to students, and we later discussed her setting a goal of giving specific positive feedback or specific constructive feedback. And I asked her this week if she had started that, and this is what she texted me back. Yes, I have. It has helped boost the other students around them to also do their work. Even when a student is in the wrong, I'll still give them a good feedback while explaining what they did was wrong. And the likeliness of it happening again has been slim to none. So I've been pleased with the feedback that I've gotten from these teachers. Our teachers also have the benefit of practicing their lesson plans in a simulation with student avatars. As a coach, I can do the same thing that I do in the classroom. I can watch them teach in the simulation setting, and as they are doing so, I take notes as they teach and then immediately give them feedback or suggestions. They also get feedback from their peers who are also watching. This is all via Zoom with the mixed simulation program. And I think that's been huge too. I think observing other teachers is a huge benefit as well as the feedback that they get from coaches. Finally, one of the benefits of being on a coaching team is that each of us, there are 4 of us this year, have different areas of expertise. When one of my new teachers asked for feedback on a young student who had some extreme behavioral issues, I asked one of the other coaches who specializes in working with behavior disabilities to come with me to observe the student so together we could give the new teacher feedback and suggestions. It was very encouraging for the new teacher and gave him the confidence he needed to know that he was on the right track. I've also gone into other classrooms to help with collaborative teaching or classroom management ideas. So we do work together and plan those as well, and that's been nice to work with other teachers to help teachers. I wanted to end by just reading this that really resonates with me. In a national survey done by Teacher Boost, there's a strong agreement, 92%, that coaches play an essential role in creating and sustaining a supporting learning culture that helps students reach their full potential. I really do believe that. I really do believe that instructional coaching, just like in other careers and other fields, can really make a difference in how a teacher can accelerate their expertise and their ability to be confident in what they're doing more than anything else. I love being a part of that. Thank you so much.